And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is a premiere podcast for the website, clsguy.com. Like I said, it's a website. Go there. It's episode 138. It was supposed to come out last week. Here we are, nearly a week later. You're getting a very special episode of me rushing through things so I can put this out. Also, I missed news time for the first time in 5 or 6 years last week. I missed news time. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, which I urge you to do, over at youtube.com/C+comedy, you can see that I'm using, again, one camera setup. Again, because this, I can hear some type of rattling. I think it's because of the microphone. All right. Again, because this takes time and energy to do. And I only have one of those. And it's not energy. I've done the time. Hey, we're back. Let's rush through this. Let's rush through whatever I have to say. Let's see. First thing is The Hollywood Reporter. This comes from Rick Porter. Jack Ryan draws solid audience for season 2, Nielsen says. So Jack Ryan is that show with, oh boy, what is the boy's name? I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it without even looking at the internet. His name is, I can see it in my head. Okay, I'm just going to have to look it up. This is embarrassing because I know him personally. John Krasinski. I don't know him personally. Jack Ryan's kind of like his baby. Took over the mantle from the guy named, what's his name? Tom Cruise. Amazon has a lot of faith in this show, as they should. It says Nielsen. Amazon doesn't release its ratings, but Nielsen, which added Amazon to its SVOD content ratings, says an average of 4.62 million people in the U.S. watched the 8-episode second season in the first 7 days of its release, including its surprise debut on October 31st, a day of its previously had premiere date. Average of, it drew its biggest audience of the 8 episodes with an average of, obviously the season premiere drew the biggest audience, with an average of 7.9 million to 9 million viewers over 7 days. About equal to the number of 7-day viewers for the episodes of ABC's The Rookie, which got 7.4 million, and CBS's SEAL Team, which got 7.26 million. That aired during that week. Each subsequent episode of Jack Ryan drew a smaller crowd than the one before it, with the finale clocking in at 2.85 million viewers over 7 days. Now, that's just over 7 days. That's just a week. That's just a week of time. We really should take that to heart, that is what happens. That number, obviously those numbers are going to grow. At this point, we're, a month and some change removed from that? 950,000 people watched the season premiere on October 31st, with 2.06 million tuning in on the official premiere date a day later. Whew. And then some people, 171,000, completed the entire season on November 1st when it premiered. Don't do that. That's not how TV works. Don't watch TV like that. I disagree with anybody that says, oh, binge. That's not how it works. With all these streaming services coming out, we're going to have to start getting some Nielsen numbers. Netflix only announces them when it makes them look good. The Irishman, I believe, they announced yesterday, as this episode is a week late, announced that they got 26.4 million viewers. The Irishman views. 17.1 million unique viewers in the U.S. in the first 5 days of streaming release. But 26.4 million accounts watched The Irishman in its first week. That's the official number that came out yesterday. 26.4 million people sat down and said, I'm going to watch The Irishman. Which is amazing numbers. I wonder, for the Billboard charts, if you listen to an album for, I think it's like 1,000 streams, or you have to listen to the first 7 songs of an album for it to count for that to be one stream, or you have to listen to 7 songs total, I believe. I forgot the numbers. I could easily look this up, but I'm not going to. Listen to 7 songs out of, however many, And then it takes 1,000 of those to equal one album sale. So I wonder how that translates for the box office for Netflix. I wonder if they look at this and go, okay, 26.4 million. Let's say the average ticket cost is $9, which is not, let's say it's $9. Would that translate to $264,000? Listen, I'm not good at math. I majored in writing and journalism. Minor. Let's move on. YouTube subscriber drop due to inactive accounts. YouTube is on a roll. Today, I believe they announced something about just harshly going after people. Let me see. I don't want to get this wrong. YouTube is in a bit of a fickle pickle lately. Go to the news section. YouTube crackdown. YouTube asked the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, to clarify how video creators should comply with COPPA ruling. There is a crackling that is coming from this microphone that I can only hear in my left ear. Oh, there's an interview with Mr. Beast on Business Insider, which I'm not a fan of, but I will read it for Mr. Beast. I like Mr. Beast. He's a good YouTuber. I don't follow. I don't subscribe. Just whatever I get recommended in the video. YouTube crackdown. Let me just type that in. Nope, I don't see it. I saw something today about YouTube cracking down on something. Anyway, YouTube's creators may see subscriber counts drop with purge of defunct accounts. This is from Variety, written by Todd Spangler, my good friend. YouTube is engaging in some year-end cleanup that could result in channels seeing a decrease in subscriber counts. The video giant on Tuesday warned creators that they may see a decrease in subscriber counts on December 3rd as it removes, quote, close accounts from the overall tallies. That, I believe that means Xbox is doing this now too. I don't know if anybody else is doing it, but Microsoft is doing this now for Xbox Live. They are, I just saw something about Harvey Weinstein. I don't know. As I read it, Microsoft did this, I believe, late last year, where they said if you don't use your account for like 7 years, if it hasn't been used for 7 years, they're just going to close it, which I think is too short. I'd say that's a whole console cycle and maybe some change. I would say maybe 3 years would be good. But they'll close your account for you. So this is what it looks like. This is basically what YouTube is doing. YouTube is issuing a similar warning. YouTube said if a creator's channels have had closed accounts removed from their subscriber count, they will be reflected in the YouTube analytics dashboard for December 3 and 4 within the next 24 hours. Okay. So there's that. Interesting. Very needs to happen. I mean, it's not like if those people aren't logging in, then A, those names could be used elsewhere, and B, we're inflating subscriber accounts. We don't need that. All right. Let me find this YouTube thing, because now this is going to bother me. What is a baby yoga? I mean, okay. All right, Chad. All right, let's find this YouTube thing. I don't see it anywhere. Maybe I was crazy. I'm opening stories I have yet to see. I'm just clicking on stories. How was he? Oh, click. What if this podcast was just me opening things on my on Chrome and nobody could nobody understood. I'm just not even talking. I'm just sitting here reading things. Like, oh yeah. It's the parts of the daily where Michael Barbaro is responding orally AUIR orally to the person who's talking. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I see it. Here we go. YouTube's tougher harassment policy cracks down on hate speech and threats. There you go. That's exactly what I was talking about. This is from Engadget. Check it out. I'm not going to read it. Check it out. Not going to read it. Opening things up for the next constitutionals, which will be recorded hopefully tomorrow evening. CBS, this is next. CBS News. CBS Evening News heads to Washington, D.C., written by CBS News. Nora O'Donnell. Jesus, God bless it, America, guys. This is big. This is big stuff. CBS Evening News is headed back to Washington, to a new permanent home. Broadcasting from Washington will give O'Donnell, Nora O'Donnell, the anchor and managing editor of the CBS Evening News and CBS News journalists, the opportunity to be at the heart of some biggest issues and stories facing the country right now. The only network evening news broadcast based in Washington, it will leverage its unique location as the nation's capital, while remaining focused on both national and international stories of interest to Americans. Did I say previous home? I thought it was already there. I'm sorry. I meant to say this is going to be it's going to be there. Nora was named the anchor for CBS Evening News just this past May. Ratings have been trending downwards. I want to use the terms that people know. Ratings have been trending downwards, and I think this news is a way for them to pump up the jams. I believe there was a rating spike when this was announced last week. There was a rating spike, and it's good to know that Nora O'Donnell is doing her best with what she has with CBS Evening News. I wonder who's leading the broadcast news game, evening news game. Maybe it might be NBC. Maybe it's ABC News Tonight. Maybe they're all not doing too hot. But we know that CBS Evening News was not doing the best. So we'll see what this does for the show, and how Nora can use this to her advantage. I'm excited. Next thing up from The Verge: Genius sues Google over song lyrics. Thank God I chose kind of evergreen stuff. This is from Danny Teal from The Verge. Genius sues Google over allegedly stolen song lyrics. Is asking for $50 million from Google and Lyric Fine. So if you know Genius is a website. New York Times, Secret Recordings by J.P. Morgan, something. Genius is a website where you can get lyrics for, it used to be just hip hop, and now you can get lyrics for pretty much any song out there. And then also, if you hover over the lyrics, then you can get what the lyrics mean, stuff like that. But if you just Google, say, 1999 lyrics by Prince. I'm on a Prince kick right now. If you just Google 1999 lyrics, then Google will bring up its own list of lyrics, not on a website, just in the search. From Lyric Find, I believe it's called. Yeah, Lyric Find. But what Genius is saying is that those lyrics aren't being produced by Google or Lyric Find. They're being produced by Genius staff. And that Google is just reading Genius and then just pasting them up there. Copy and paste. Google displays song lyrics that are provided by partners in response to certain search queries. Genius alleged earlier this year that, in some instances, those lyrics were copied from its website, something it was able to track through a clever watermarking scheme. Genius is now suing over the allegedly lifted lyrics, accusing Google and its lyrics partners, Lyric Fine, of breaching its terms of service. The complaint, filed in Brooklyn, New York on December 3rd, says that Google's behavior not only violates its terms of service agreement, but it profits off the, quote, 10 years and tens of millions of dollars Genius had spent to build its blah, 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 blah database. In addition to the monetary damages, Genius says it is entitled to a permanent injunction against Lyric Fine, prohibiting the continued misappropriation of content from Genius's website, including the licensing of such content to third parties, such as Google. Wow, they're really going for the jugular here, aren't they? Oh, jeez. So this isn't the first time that Genius has said it, that Google's been copying their lyrics. Apparently, they've alleged that this has been happening for years. In June 2019, the Wall Street Journal obtained a letter that Genius wrote to Google in April, warning that it had broken the site's terms of service and that reusing the lyrics violated antitrust law. I definitely remember that. I remember that happening, and I remember that being a big deal. Even as a Google boy, you can definitely see that. One can definitely see that this is not. I don't want to say malicious. This isn't. Google uses these algorithms and this AI reading and is able to integrate a lot of systems into its main search. That's why we have, that's why Google Doodles, that takes you to a variety of websites on like Maya Angelou's birthday or something, or the anniversary of the moon landing. And then, or you can do, or the Easter eggs where you type in like do a barrel roll and Google's, that obviously references Star Fox, but Google search engine does a barrel roll. But something like this, without giving credit to the creators, even if Google is technically the third party in the situation and they are just partnering with LyricFind, Google is by association, and LyricFind as well, is not doing its due diligence to, what am I trying to say here? Google's the bad guy in this case. Now, Google's the bad guy in a lot of cases, but Google's bad guy, definitely the bad guy in this case. Very clearly the bad guy in this case. Genius, especially with them having said this for years, especially with Genius going, hey, Google's been doing this since, 2011, 2010, 2015. I go down and I go back up. That's how years work. But that watermarking thing really caught them with their pants down. And that's, there's a lot of reasons why the heads of Google stepped down, the two heads of Google stepped back and put Sundar Pichai in charge. But this is one of them. Google and Alphabet as a whole, getting a little bit too big for its britches, kind of like what Facebook's doing, is headed, or is right now. And it's just not good. I watched the movie The Circle at work, starring Emma Watson and Tom Hanks, Patton Oswalt, Karen Gillan, and John Boyega. And it's truly, the director wrote the book that it's based on. I can see it's really flighty. The movie's really flighty. The dialogue is, it goes into an area of, did a child write this? It doesn't make sense a lot of the time. It's really rushed. In a sense, I'm saying that this movie is not quality. However, the direction, I think the direction was really enjoyable. The director liked to use a lot of swinging camera motions, and I refused to look up his name. He's a white man. The director used a swing. He did The Spectacular Now, I believe. And I think he wrote it maybe, but he used a lot of swinging stuff, and he stayed with characters, and there's a lot of, and the story is truly fascinating. It's something that Facebook is really headed to today, like where they're just getting, maybe we should vote using Facebook. Maybe I'm just ruining the end of the movie, but who really gives a crap? We should vote using Facebook. We should all wear cameras, and people can watch us. 2 million people can watch us every single day, doing whatever. You only have 3 minutes to use the bathroom because you're using the camera, because you're wearing a camera. So this is kind of, Google and Alphabet. Alphabet is Google's parent company that was created. It's really funny because Alphabet was created because Google was getting too big. And apparently, I think on the stock exchange, they needed something like, there's 2 alphabets on the stock exchange, and they're both, the Google alphabet. But Alphabet is a parent company. And so they created the umbrella company Alphabet to house Waze, Google, and all of the other stuff, which now includes Nest, I assume. But like all the other stuff that Google once owned. And now you're hearing stories of, well, maybe Alphabet's too big. Maybe we should break it up. Like that's how, it just doesn't make sense to me. All right, let's move on, because I do have a story to tell. Last one, podcasts can win Pulitzers. This comes from Engadget again. Christine Fisher. This is a fascinating article. Podcasts like S-Town, Serial, and Believed aren't just enthralling, they're also great examples of hard-hitting, in-depth reporting. Now, that sentence, great. I disagree with, I think, S-Town. S-Town is, by the end of it, I was tired. And actually, I think it's S-Town. I've only listened to Serial and S-Town. Oh, and Missing Richard Simmons, which is truly the bottom of the barrel for those types of podcasts. I have met so many women who listen to audio journalism mystery podcasts. I put quotes around all those, and they love them. And it takes so much of me. I think a bird just flew by the window. I think somebody's outside listening to a live taping of this crappy show. There's not that many subscribers. But I've met so many women in the past couple of weeks that like those, and they're wrong. I'm laughing, but it's just like those are the only ones they only listen to. And there's so many great versions of there's too many podcasts now. I actually did a purge last week of a few shows. I'm about to purge some more, like Dax Shepard's show. I only listen to it when he gets people that I enjoy. That's every so often. Anyway, to recognize the best of that work, the Pulitzer Board is launching an experimental category to honor it. Oh, that was all a quote. I just skipped over an entire quote. Yeah, so there's going to be a Pulitzer Prize for audio podcasting. Serial, so it's only going to be for shows that were submitted and aired during 2019. I'm about to name a bunch of shows that I do not know. I don't care. Shows that aired in 2019 that are those mystery audio journalism podcasts. Yeah, I think this is a good move. Yeah, I do. I think this is a good move. This is a good move. Podcasts do need to be recognized, and it needs to be gatekeep it. It needs to be gatekept because idiots like me shouldn't be able to start a podcast. You don't want to sit there and watch somebody talk or listen to somebody talk. Washington Post. Something about William Barr, Inspector General. All right, let's do a story. So last week, so this is I'm recording this on a week after it's supposed to air. So it'll probably go up today, hopefully. And so I'm recording this on and I'm have a day off. I have to take a bunch of days off for work. So I have a day off because they don't accrue, which sucks. So I have a day off this week. Oh my God, week of Christmas. Oof. And the week of New Year's. I have one. Let me just real quick. I'm not working a full day of work until basically the second week of January. So I haven't worked a full week of work since late October. Late October, because a lot of November or a couple of days in November I was not at work. And then the week of Thanksgiving, I don't even think I was there. I was there for like 2 days. So anyway, so I'm now forced to take all this time off. And I had a day off last week on Thursday, and I'd been getting emails from this casting agency that I'd used before to be an extra. And they were sending around emails to be an extra for Boomerang. Oof, I don't know if I should have said that. I didn't sign an NDA, so who cares? For Boomerang on. I signed an NDA last time I did it, so whatever. Boomerang season 2, and I was supposed to be a churchgoer. I'm really deciding if I should tell the story or not, but who cares? No one's in the show. So I'm supposed to be a churchgoer for some type of scene. I'm not gonna see. I was about to say something. So I was going to be a churchgoer for this scene, and there were going to be, I would say, a little around 80 people, maybe 60. Now there's a lot of people. It was definitely a gym, basically a gym full's worth. Let's say 80 people. Let's say there were going to be 80 people being extras in this show. Now, to preface this story, it's not a story. When you are an extra, you are nobody. You're the lowest of the low. You're lower than PAs. All right. And you got to understand that. And that is a thing. I've worked in the industry for, 5 years now. Yeah. 5 years next month, 5 years now. And I mean, truly, you're nothing. You're nobody. And this should not come as a surprise to anyone. Even if you haven't heard, if I went to work at a textiles factory and I was a new hire and I was an office assistant, I would be the lowest person on the rung there. Even people who work in the factory, people who are in the office, I would be the lowest person on the rung there. God, I hope that does not happen to me. I hope my career keeps going up in television, because boy, that would probably die. So we're going to be at a church in South Atlanta. So I drive to the pickup point and they take us over, and obviously, you're not going to be the only extra there. But you don't know how large the scene is going to be. So they take us to a little church after they take us from the drop off point, pickup point. And we're checking all this stuff. And when you're an extra, you got to check in. You got to do all this stuff. You have to bring your own clothes. Make sure that there's no logos. Make sure it's appropriate. We're supposed to be extras in a church scene. It was a dream sequence. Who gives a crap? It was a dream sequence. I just tried to stop myself. It was a dream sequence. But you were churchy, but you had to look like you're about to go to the club too. So it had to be like, I don't know, get down casual. Get down casual. Yeah, I like that. Get down casual. Or church get down. And I mean, truly a lot of the people that were there, I don't know why I'm whispering, a lot of people there were dressed like they were just going to the club, and nothing looked like if I can see women, if I can see your labia, you are going to the club. Dudes, if your pants were down to your ankles and I could see your prostate, you're going to the club. What kind of club has a prostate? Okay, so this is why I don't have any subscribers. I got a few. Not enough. Not a lot. Anyway, and this is, I still do this for a portfolio, so let's keep it clean. So you're an extra, you're nobody. You are the last to eat. You get crafty. Crafty is, snacks and stuff, but it's going to be, they're just going to pop open boxes, and that's pretty much going to be it. Why is Firefox emailing me? They're just going to pop open boxes. Like, you're going to get, some cheese doodles that everybody has to share. Like, that's what happens, water and stuff. Oh yeah. So we were sitting there, waiting for the crew to finish eating so we could go, grab our food from a different side of the thing. They had way great food. We had, food. There was a guy who was, and I didn't bring anything, because when you're at these things, you can bring stuff. You're going to be sitting there for a long time. And, you bring a book, you bring, some headphones for music, your computer. However, when you go shoot a scene, you can't bring any of that stuff with you. You can't text, and which I don't text. I messed up and I texted a couple of times, but no one called me on it. But you can't text, and you gotta leave your bag in the area. So so don't bring anything important. So just move the futon. So I just brought my phone, and for some reason, I have Judd Apatow's book "Sick in the Head" downloaded to my phone. I know I had it. I know I owned it. I don't know why it's downloaded to my phone. So I just said, hey, better late than never. Knocked out a couple of chapters, but while I was reading, there was a guy who was getting water, and the catering guy, I'm not taking any sides, the catering guy was pouring water inside of the vestibule. So all you heard was over, and people were talking. So it was just a bunch of black people in one room just yelling at each other. And a gym yelling at each other. So one guy huge muscular guy. He was an extra, and then the guy for catering was just like this short little fat dude pouring water. All you heard was, "Hey man, hey, no," and everybody just stopped talking and simultaneously looked over at this table where this guy, the big guy, is just, he's like, nah man, just like yelling at and then the other guy's just barking back. Eventually, and then the guy who's the catering, he turned to the PAs. It was like, hey, we're gonna need a situation. I made him sound like a nerd guy. So one person goes to get security, which obviously is a set, so they have security, and then all the PAs and a bunch of grips, this is what grips are for. Grips are people who do like lighting, and they help set up cameras and stages and all that stuff. And they do all the heavy lifting essentially. And these grips, they just ran over there to just separate them. And again, it was still quiet. So they separated them. I think a producer or a PA took the bigger guy back, the muscular guy back into a separate room to talk to him. And then the other guy was separated, and then everybody got talking to. As security came in, who was like, I think it was a couple of cops, they escorted the big guy out, and they stopped right behind me so that I could hear every last word of what happened. So apparently the muscular guy had he was filling up a cup of water, and it got knocked out of the hand by the catering guy. And the catering guy apparently said, I'm not taking sides, you're an extra, you're nobody. Which I don't understand. I don't know why. And so what they did was the catering guy stayed because they need him. They only have like 2 or 3 of those people. I think they only had 2 of those people, 2 of those guys. So he essentially stayed. I don't know if he got in trouble. And again, he's just hired by the production company. Plus, they were on like their second to last day of shooting, so it really didn't matter. Even if he did, get in trouble or something like that. And then the bigger extra guy, he was sent home. That's just what happens. But to his credit, to the muscular guy's credit, there was a woman sitting at a table next to me who I heard the entire day. I got there at 2:30, and we left I got in bed at like 11:30. So 11 o'clock. We left at like 11 p.m. And I heard her, let's say, all 9 hours I was there. All 9 hours I was there, I heard this woman, and so loud, just so loud. I'm not gonna say anything else. But she was very loud, and she said that catering guy, that particular catering person, was rude to her earlier. So maybe that guy was just had a chip on his shoulder. So who knows? But again, you are an extra. You are a guest on the set. Everybody has been, again, I'm not taking sides, but everybody has been there for more than one day working. They're tired. And let me say this: when you're shooting a scene, and a producer or an assistant director, I think the assistant director was directing this, but the assistant director is telling you to be quiet. Just be quiet. Do what they say. The people in front of me, I guarantee if you watch this scene, you can see them talking the entire time, because we were on camera for where I was sitting. We were on camera for, I would say maybe 70% of it, 78% of it. And the couple in front of me would not shut the crap up. And it was like, and I kept thinking, to myself, producers, they're talking. Do you not see that on camera? Like you can, and it wasn't just like, words every so often. It was the entire time. They would not stop talking, like full volume talking, and the guy, and they would turn to each other and like do like hand gestures and talk and stuff. And I was just thinking, like, if I was a producer, I would say separate, shut up, separate, and move them. But yeah, like it was just a group of people, just 80 people, just really not helping themselves. And eventually I can see the AD getting, pissed off around when we started, let's say, so we were there at 2:30, and then let's say we had to eat first, and then we started shooting around, I would say maybe 7 o'clock, 7:30. So about 5 hours we were just sitting there. Again, I only had my phone and I can't use data because Google Fi is going to charge me out the wazoo. And so it was just me like sitting and watching a lot of people, which is fun. And so basically we started shooting around 7 o'clock, 7:30, let's say 7:30 to be safe. Moving people over there, moving a gaggle of people, and we weren't driving over there. We were in the church. We were in the church's gym, so we were within spitting distance of the church. So we walked over there. We all got to choose our own seats. They did like dazzly people, like people who are dressed in more brighter colors were sat near people in darker colors. I was in like a jean jacket and what was I in? A dark sweater, I believe. No, I didn't wear a sweater with that. A jean jacket and a pullover. I was wearing a pullover. So I looked like I could go to church. The young woman next to me, she looked wonderful. I did not say a word to her, except in the scene where it was. They were like, since we're in a church, they're like, tell your neighbor this, tell your neighbor that, and that's the only time I talked to her. Anywho's, so yeah. So then at one point the AD was telling people to be like we were so close to being finished, and they were just getting the last couple of shots. And this is like this is after we were shuffled in there and we shot for like 2 hours, and then we're shuffled back out for about 15 minutes. Then so they can move the camera and the crane and all that stuff, and then we moved back in, and then a bunch of people were just not used. Like a bunch of people or real crammed in one spot. Then like a bunch of people were just like in the back and not used at all. And so the AD was at one point, we were so close to being done, like 20 minutes from being done, and the AD, it was getting loud in there, and you have to be quiet, especially when you're extras, because you're nobody. Again, you're nobody, you're extras. And the AD it was just getting so loud in the church, and the AD said, assistant director, that's what AD stands for. Assistant director said something along the lines, if you guys just be quiet, then we will get out of here sooner. I know you're tired. We're almost done. Just be quiet. And like she basically reiterated being quiet. And it only got slightly quieter. But a woman behind me said, "That's not fair." If I don't know, I'm doing the accent. I can do the accent. She said, "That's not fair. If we were actors, she wouldn't be talking to us like this." And this is where this part of the. This is where this episode came into mind. You are an extra. You're nobody. You're a guest on this set. If someone tells you to be quiet, be quiet. If they say move, move. It shouldn't. I understand that you may have this, you may want this to be something. You may want this to be a career, and more power to you. Or you're just doing this as a side gig, or you see yourself as that serious Daniel Day-Lewis. You're Daniel Day-Lewis in your mind. You're Brad Pitt. You're Saoirse Ronan. I watched Late Night with Seth Meyers this morning. It's so stupid. Is it Late Night with Seth Meyers or a Late Show? It's Late Night. Let me name some people of color. Constance Wu. No, Jennifer Lopez. She was nominated for Golden Globes. Probably the only person of color nominated for anything in the Golden Globes this year. We'll get to that in this week's episode of the Constitutionals. The next one. The next episode, not next week's. But yeah, so you may think that. You may think you are this A-lister, but you are on the Z list. You don't even register. Your name is more than likely not going to be in the credits. Probably, and I don't even know if you can use extra on your IMDb. Do I even have one? Would I have? No, because I've only produced news. Whatever. Well, I mean, I was on the dating show. Just keep bringing that up. Simpler times. That wasn't simple. I graduated college then. And then the guys next to me at when we were eating dinner, I didn't say a word to anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to sit there and read my book. The guys next to me were talking about doing extra work. And one guy, I think it was his first time, but the guy next to me had done it a couple of times. And then I remember him saying something about he met a guy that people treat it as their full-time job, which I do. That is too much for me. Because as an extra, you have these weird call times. You could go in at a preferable time, like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, or you can go in at 2:30, 3:30, as late as possible. But if you get in those later shifts, you're probably going to be there till 10, 11, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 10, 11 p.m. or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. Because once you sign up, you're not contracted, but you're going. It could be a 12-hour day, because that's how movies and television work. And so he said he knew a guy that he's been doing it for 5 years, and he was coming up on 120 of those, or no, it was ridiculous. I think it was like 160. Because I remember doing the math and going, I don't know how you pay rent with that, but. $75 for 8 hours, which is good, which is really, I'll take it extra. It was my day off too, so I got paid my regular salary. Awesome. At the rate of this cold weather is snapping in and out, it can pay for my electricity. So he said, and then that guy said it was his 44th. But I mean, you're coming in at these odd times. You're nobody, and I don't know. I said earlier that some people might try to buoy this into a real gig. There's a show called Extras with Ricky Gervais that I don't think was on HBO. I don't think they turned it into acting gigs. Again, I've only seen a couple episodes. That was years ago. That was like a decade ago. But. There's okay. Unless you know the PAs, the right PAs, the producers, the directors, the actors, and the actors will talk to you. No one thinks they're better than you. But unless you know those people, and I'm talking about the important people. I'm not talking about the PA that, like I was a PA on that Fox show, and I knew the other PAs, but I didn't know, I wasn't friends with the producers. Then this is not going to be a lucrative position for you, because I can continue to get the offers for extra work because I fit a mold in Atlanta. They need, young black men and a lot of these things, but it's not gonna turn into anything. You know what I'm saying? It's it's kind of like running a comedy website and not quote unquote networking. It just doesn't make sense to continue doing as a full-time gig. And I'm not knocking anybody down. It's just, it doesn't, like, you can do 160 of those a year. It's not going to be for the same show. It's not going to be for the same people, because those people are going to be from LA, and the only people that they want to take with them are starting at the PAs and then going up. They're not gonna go, oh, this extra, he does good work, so I'm gonna fly him to, or I'm gonna ask the production company to fly him to LA so he can act in this other scene, so he can be in this other scene, because that's an impossible thing. They're not going to take this day player. They're not going to take this $75 a day person who's not worth the risk. Let's just say that. So if you think doing extra work is going to be a lucrative position for you, think again. Hey, listen. If you like what you heard here, head on over to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see interviews and other good things, mostly interviews. You can follow us. Oh, if you want to see a video version of this show, head on over to youtube.com/cpluscomedy to see me sitting at my desk in all my glory in my $25 Hawks jersey. When I did that thing with the China Robinson when I was shooting the video for young women, I got at the Hawks game, they were selling these vintage sweatshirts for $25. They were selling a black one and a red one, and the black one had different type font on it. And I had to jump on it. This is a very good sweatshirt for $25. I don't even have a lot. I don't even have. Yeah, I have like 2 other sweatshirts, and they're both from high school. So this is great. Great thing to own and wear. It looks so. It makes me look so cool in my jean jacket. Oh my god. And then you can also see News Time, which is a weekly news show that I missed a week last week, and I had to put it out this week. It's like The Daily Show, except way less funny and with entertainment news. I was going to say this week's episode, but it doesn't matter. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @CPlusComedy. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe. Rate us on Apple Podcasts. Do that. And tell your friends about the show. And that's it. All right. I'll see you in 24 hours.